Well, hey there, folks. Happy Monday. We are getting down to the end of the school year here pretty soon. Actually, my kids, this is their last week of school, and then they're off for summer. So we're going to have another 2.5 weeks, I think, of work before our school is out for the summer, which is all well and good. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I don't mind that. Um, so. So yeah, we're gonna have to find a little bit of stuff to do with the kids while they're home and we're still here working. But they've been pretty good about playing by themselves and playing in the yard. We got some work that we're planning on doing in the yard in the next few weeks to sort of liven it up a little bit and make it so that the kids can play there. We have this inflatable pool that we're going to put out, and I'm actually going to try and level a spot in the backyard. We've got to till some of it up and, just we got to do some work to it. But we've been very happy with the kids playing in the backyard lately. And, speaking of yards and, being around the house and all that stuff, the wife and I, we got back into an old hobby of ours recently. Recently, as in like this past weekend, pretty much end of last week, which was sort of just house hunting, window shopping. It's something that we used to do a long time ago, back when we were cool and young and living in Sacramento. We would basically go house shopping. I washed my hair today. It just keeps falling on my face. Nothing I'm going to do about it. I'm just going to keep doing this. I don't care. Long hair, don't care. So what we used to do just for fun was to go, tour model homes or tour open houses. And, that's what we would do on a weekend and just kind of enjoy looking at all these houses that we could afford or maybe someday afford and, coming up with all sorts of dreams and plans. We didn't have any kids yet. We weren't even married at the time. We're just, we're living together and, we're just looking at dreams basically. And we would tour any kind of house. We would tour suburban houses. We would go to open houses of like older homes, a lot of model homes, because that was kind of the easiest to get into. You just drive around and look for big flags or balloons near housing developments that are going up. So a lot of model homes. We would see it at the time. It seemed like a cool idea. These little tract homes. They're we called them postage stamps because they'd have a little postage stamp size of a yard, like a dog patch or a patio that you could have a little charcoal grill on, and that was it. Like the house was, it'd be like a 2 or 3 story house on no yard. Like the house itself took up the majority of the lot, like almost all of the lot. And then you'd have like this little postage stamp size of a yard, if you could even call it a yard. And that was, that was interesting. We, back when we were just the two of us, you look at stuff like that and it's like, oh yeah, that would be really great for the two of us. And, you realize someday, oh, you want kids and, yeah, you could live in an apartment or a condo and, you got your community sort of amenities as part of that. But, at the same time, it's really nice having a yard. It's really, really nice having a yard. I grew up sort of in the country and, we had a lot of acreage, like a lot of acreage. Some old family members a long while back my dad's grandmother had bought some land and kept it in the family. And then my parents had built their house on there. And, that's how I grew up. I just grew up in the country surrounded by grass and just miles to run around and do whatever I wanted. And of course, you don't appreciate it when it's your own backyard and it's what you grow up with. And so, I end up going off to college and meet my wife. And then we moved to, the Bay Area where we're at right now. And, the older I get and when, we start having kids, for me anyway, I start to appreciate the idea of having some space, having a yard, having somewhere to sort of run around. We don't have a dog or anything, but, we have kids, and they're about as high energy as a puppy would be. So, having some space where they can run around and dig and get into mischief and, do all the things that I grew up doing. You pay a premium for that. It's not like there's parts of the country I know where, you can get a giant 10 or 20 acre lot, for not for California prices, that's for sure. But you come out to California, especially the Bay Area, you want a property with an actual lot to it, you're going to pay for it. And so, it is what it is. It's just, that's just the way the housing market is. And, depending on, we want to be close to the Bay Area and all the Bay Area amenities and shops and nice weather. The weather's really what does it. And in order to do that costs more for, basically the same thing that you would get for a third of the price or a quarter of the price anywhere else. But regardless, we started getting back into a little house hunting, window shopping. Like, we're not planning on moving or anything, but we're always kind of thinking about what, if we did move, where would we go? What would our options be? Or we look at places in terms of, this is a cool feature in this house. Could we do this in our house? Could we renovate? If that's something that makes more sense. And so it's fun. It's a pastime, just kind of looking at houses that we can't afford or someday could afford, or, hey, let's try and work up to that or something like that. It's good to have goals, and it's good to think about, have your kind of eye on a little distant prize there, because even if you don't get that particular house at that particular price, if you're working towards that, you're going to be better off in the future than you are today. And the best time to start is, now. Well, the best time, as they say, the best time to start a project was, years ago. Best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The second best time is right now. So, but I wanted to show off something. We were on Zillow, and we looked at like all the houses, if it had 4 bedrooms in it, because that's, if we were to move, that's what we would want to upgrade to. Is we're in 3 bedrooms right now, and we're talking about separating the kids and putting them into their own bedrooms, because the daughter's getting older, and that's going to be a necessity here pretty soon. So we're talking about splitting them up. We like the idea of having a guest room, because we have had family and friends over the years stay with us, and we like having a place where a room set aside where people can come and stay with us. We've had to put people up for various reasons, and we're just that family. We're that kind of people. If you need a place to stay, you've got a place to stay. So what we're kind of looking for is, hey, what can we do to have one more bedroom than we actually need for our family? And that gives us the flexibility to help people out if we need to, or do stuff for us. So if there was a 4-bedroom anywhere in this area, we looked at it online, and we ended up touring a couple of houses. One was great, one was not so great. But there was one that we were looking at. This is outside of our area that we would live in, and it's right next to the freeway. But there was this one house that I saw, and I'm not calling out addresses or anything, because I don't feel that would be all that right. But and I know realize I'm facing the wrong direction here, because I got my OBS all switched over. So I'm looking this way, but the thing is right here. So sorry, messed that up. Actually, let's do that. Let's switch this over here. That's better. That'll make me feel better. Okay. So I saw this house, which it's really neat. It's nicely done. And it's actually, for the area and the size, a good price for where it is. It also just happens to be right underneath the freeway or right next to the freeway, so that's probably why it's cheaper than most. So this is a really beautiful house, and it's near the Bay Area, so it's not in San Francisco. Just a beautiful kitchen. There's a great backyard. I'm not going to show you everything on here, but one thing that I noticed that as a woodworker and as someone who's done updates on my own house, one thing in the description that stuck out to me was that this house features how did they say it? It was original hardwood floors, like original dark stained hardwood floors. And you look at these pictures and it's just, you see this nice glossy floor. But the more I look at it, the more I'm noticing something about these floors. Take it from me to, notice something like flooring. This is not hardwood. If you look at this grain pattern, if this were hardwood, you'd be able to notice like an oak pattern. This isn't quite an oaky pattern, which was pretty typical of how they were doing hardwood floors in this area for, a long time. I think this house was built in the 50s or 60s or something, which is about the age of our house. And that would be appropriate, is having, if it was original hardwood floors, it would be these oak planks, either symmetrical or varied width. They did a little bit of both. But this is not oak. And you also notice, you look at some of these areas right here, you can see like a little bit of little lip, a little variation, some gouges here. It's nicely stained. You'd see a big gouge right here. It is nicely stained and it's sealed up. It's got this glossy finish to it. But this is not oak. Okay, so what is it? This, you get, let's see if I can, it's a beautiful backyard. They did a great job. This right here, this little blotchy stain that you get, this sort of striping, where you have like some light and dark, you get that in pine, okay? And specifically Douglas fir, which is what all your 2x4s and your 2x6s are made of. So your construction material. And then I noticed something else, okay? This nail line right here, you can see how everything is nailed down in an exact line. You have a few spots where you have, this line right here where you have these floorboards, one's here, and then some of them. So this is all nailed to a beam that's on a line. Now, what they used to do for building houses, especially in this area, is if you go underneath the house, and my house is exactly the same way, or at least it was before, long time ago, there was some water damage and had to get repaired, replaced. But the original construction of this house is something called car decking. So what that is you have these piers and pier blocks underneath and posts, and it's sort of a post and beam sort of thing. You've got these 2x6 posts that sit on top of a beam that sit on top of a block, a cement block. And then on top of that, you have this 2x6 tongue and groove car decking. So it's 2x6s that have been tongue and groove and stuck together, sort of wedged together like that, and then nailed down on these beams on 48-inch centers, okay, which is a really wide center, but it was acceptable because you had 2x6s, which are going to be, pretty wide and sturdy, and they were tongue and groove, so they would lock in place. So this 48-inch center, you can see that you'd probably reasonably look at this nail pattern here. You've got the edge of the wall. There's probably, you can start just barely see some nails along here, along the wall. And then you've got, which would make sense if there was a beam under there. There's definitely a beam under here. So all these are nailed down to that beam. And this, you could probably reasonably guess this is about 48 inches. This looks roughly 4 feet. And I don't know if we can find any other. Yeah, so you can barely just see there's a nail line in here. There's a nail line here. So this is the other wall. So we have 48 inches, 48 inches, another 48 inches. So what they've done here, it's very interesting. They took up whatever the original hardwood flooring is. This is not oak, okay? They took up the original hardwood flooring. Or what might have happened is the original hardwood flooring was gone already, or maybe it was damaged or something. You know, that sort of stuff happens. It was probably carpeted over in the 70s and 80s, you know, okay, boomer. And then they ripped up the carpet looking for hardwood floors. And what they found either was damaged hardwood floors that they had to take out, or that was already taken out. They ripped up the carpet and they found wood, and they were like, oh, this is original hardwood floors because it's wood. But what that actually is subfloor. That's subfloor right there. That is not flooring. That is your subfloor. So what they did was they took their 2x6 tongue and groove car decking subfloor, and they probably sanded it, they stained it, finished it, either thought that it was hardwood flooring, or were like, you know what, we know it's not hardwood flooring, but we're going to sell it like that anyway, because who's going to tell the difference? You know, not everyone's a Mr. Lauer, so we could get away with it. So they took whatever was on top of here down to the subfloor. They gussied up the subfloor, made it look all nice and stained and pretty, and then are presenting it as your flooring. That's a little bit like running around in your underwear and calling it a suit. That's a good analogy. Yeah. Running around in your underwear and saying, yep, I'm fully dressed. It's nice underwear. It's very beautiful underwear, but you're still in your chonies. Yeah. So that, I had a good laugh at that. I mean, that is 100% subfloor. Original, not hardwood, original 2x6 tongue and groove subfloor that's been stained and sealed and presented to you as a finished product. Yeah. I mean, it looks good. I will give it that. It looks good. It's got sort of like an old world saloon charm, I guess. You got these big gouges in your floor, which I don't know. I'd be worried about. Look at this. Look at this right here. I mean, you get that in 2x6s. Like this would, if this was your hardwood floor, this would not be acceptable because it's just this big chunk taken out of your flooring. But if for your subfloor, it doesn't matter because it's supposed to be under your actual flooring, right? Your carpet or your tile or your actual hardwood. I would be so worried about walking out through here in my bare feet, because I walk through my house in bare feet all the time. So do the kids. I'd be so worried about pulling up a splinter or something. You know, you're going to have little gaps in here. I wonder if you can see daylight, you know, into the into under the house, into the crawl space. Makes a fellow wonder. So anyway, that was I wanted to show you guys that because that was hilarious. That just made me laugh so hard. And I know I'm nerd out of the dumbest things, but you know, contractors, man. Contractors. All right. I got to get to class. You guys have a good one. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good day.